everyone. We're going to look at our first strategy for becoming more flexible with multiplication facts. So that's the strategy with squares. So a lot of kids know their squares. 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. So we're going to build on that. And with each of these models, we're going to talk about a visual model to really conceptually understand and see the concept. So we're going to use an area model. And we are also going to use 2 different symbolic models, equations, what we use in mathematics, but then also language. How do we talk about the mathematics? So our first one, we're going to try 6 times 8. So a student might know 6 times 6 is 36, so we know that square. So as a former algebra teacher, I'm going to look at it from like an XY coordinate system. So I tend to think of an area model with X and Y. So I'm thinking of this as a 6 here. And then I'm going to go up 8. So if I use symbolically, I'm going to say, I know 6 times 6 equals 36. So here, I'm not going to use the full 8. I'm only going to use 6. And then I see my square there. 6 times 6 is equal to 36. But I haven't used the 8. I have decomposed the 8 into a 6. And I still have 2 more up here. And here's where it's nice, is you can see that this is 2, if I use a dotted line there, you can see that really is 2 6s. So here, just to keep the language and the symbols the same, I'm going to say 6 times 2. Just so you can see that the 6 times 8, where did the 8 go? It's right here. So 6 times 2 is equal to 12. Here's my 6 times 2 equals 12. And then together, 6 times 8 is equal to 48. It's always good to have the student repeat that. So here it gives me a visual model to see what's happening with the mathematics, the symbols, and then I've used the language to describe it. And all 3 of those components are really good for kids to practice. Okay, another one might be, they might say, I know 8 times 8 is 64. Let's look at what that looks like. So in this case, I'm going to go all the way up to 8. Go up to 8 here. So I know 8 times 8 is equal to 64. So again, I'm going to write that as an equation. 8 times 8 equals 64. However, I only had the 6. So if I go here, I'm only going over 6, which means I went too far. And I don't actually have this amount here. So I've gone too far. So the 6, I'm actually going to subtract 2 8s. And a lot of times we'll write that, we'll keep the parentheses to hold that amount. So 16, so I'm going to subtract 16. We've focused on our addition subtraction strategies. We could take that as we could decompose 16 to a 14 and 2, subtract 14, I'm at 50, subtract the 2, I'm at 48. So I know 6 times 8 equals 48. And right here, you also see that this is 2 over, but then being able to see, this is the harder part to see that relation is, over here is the 8s, there's the 2 8s. So this is subtracting that 2 8s, which is taking away that amount of 16 here. I'll keep that symbol, should have kept that over there earlier. So that shows us how to use the square strategy for when we're multiplying to make sure that we're focusing on flexibility, we understand the concept, and we have the language, and at the same time, we're building a nice array of different types of facts while we're doing the square strategy. So hopefully that was helpful. We're going to do 3 other strategies, so stay tuned for those as well.